Observing a master in battle, what does one observe? For the most part, people only notice the superb technique, explosive power, and fast bursts of movement. They obsess on these things because they assume they embody the essential principles of martial arts. But my buddy, they fail to discern the substance, simply the shadow. Something profound occurred to me on my trip through martial arts that impacted the course of my life. The ancient rulers didn't choose the dragon as an emblem merely because of its might. Instead, they caught a glimpse of something much deeper, something that the vast majority of practitioners fail to see during their careers. Are you familiar with this desire? Looking into your eyes, I see the same passion that devoured me for so long. The tremendous drive to understand every move and eventually become unbeatable. However, I must pose the following question. What if your very objectives are actually impeding your progress? What if ultimate mastery isn't about what you acquire, but what you strip away? Today, I share with you the way of the dragon, not as another set of tactics to learn, but as a road to absolute independence. Through years of painstaking research, of tearing down every barrier, of questioning every convention, I learned what the dragon truly represents. It's not merely a symbol of martial arts, it's a method of comprehending the core nature of human potential, Are you willing to dive beyond the obvious, to learn what the ancient masters encoded in the way of the dragon? This isn't about learning how to fight better. It's about waking to a truth that will change every element of your life. We begin now, not with talents, but with understanding. The wisdom of the dragon isn't found in power alone. It rests in the perfect balance of opposing energies, in the unification of seeming discrepancies. It's about becoming like water while containing the power of a tempest, about finding serenity in action and motion in repose. What I'm about to share with you isn't merely another philosophy. It's the essence of many hours of practice, meditation, and discovery. The dragon's way manifests itself differently to each seeker, but its essential principles remain timeless. These aren't just ideas to be grasped, they're truths to be experienced, lived, and embodied. Let me show you what I learned regarding the true significance of the dragon's way. You might question why, of all creatures, I chose the dragon as the symbol of ultimate martial truth. In my earliest days of training, I also took it as merely another indication, another tradition passed along without examination. But as I delved deeper into my research, something surprising began to reveal itself. You see, in Chinese philosophy, the dragon isn't like other creatures. It has no fixed form. It can soar through clouds or descend into the deepest oceans. It can be as large as the heavens or as small as a silkworm. This formlessness, this limitless adaptation, is the first step to appreciating its enormous wisdom. My own route toward this realization wasn't simple. For years, I practiced in conventional methods, mastering forms, perfecting skills. I grew adept, yes, but something was missing. I felt stuck by the very mechanics I had mastered. It was like attempting to grasp the ocean in a cup. The more I tried to contain it, the more it poured away. Then, one day, while thinking on the nature of combat, I had a revelation. The greatest limitation in martial arts isn't your opponent, it's your own mind. We grow so wedded to our methods, our approaches, our ways of thinking, that we imprison ourselves in invisible cages. The dragon showed me another route. Think about water for a moment. Like the dragon, it has no permanent shape. Pour it into a cup, it becomes the cup. Put it into a bottle, it becomes the bottle. It becomes the bottle. Let it freeze, and it becomes as hard as stone. Allow it to heat, and it becomes as wispy as mist. This power to adapt, to transform, to flow, this is the basis of the dragon's way. But this road of transformation I'm asking you to undertake, it won't be easy. It involves more than simply physical conditioning. It demands that you challenge all you assume you know about martial arts. You must be willing to break free from the comfort of fixed patterns to enter a position of continual discovery and renewal. The path ahead will challenge not simply your body, but your entire way of thinking. We'll study issues that may look paradoxical at first: how softness overcomes hardness, how limitation gives birth to freedom, how emptiness leads to mastery. These aren't merely academic concepts, they are practical realities that will improve your martial arts and your life. What comes ahead is not just a succession of tactics or ideas to memorize. It's a full metamorphosis of how you understand fighting, movement, and ultimately existence itself. The Dragon's method is not about adding more knowledge. It's about taking away anything that hinders you from expressing your full potential. As we proceed, remember, the dragon is not only a symbol of power, but of ultimate liberty. It reflects the flexibility to respond to any situation without the burden of previous notions. This is the change that awaits you, from a practitioner confined by technique to a martial artist free to express their own nature. Let us begin this journey of development together. Let us begin with the fundamental premise of the dragon's power, the fusion of strength and flexibility. Most martial artists make a critical mistake. They feel they must choose between being powerful or being flexible. They train to become either like oak, rigid and powerful, or like grass, supple and yielding. But in doing so, they forget the basic truth that the dragon conveys. Consider how a dragon moves. In one moment, it may coil with terrible intensity, focusing force that might break stone. In the next instant, it moves like silk in the breeze, providing and redirecting energy with seamless beauty. This isn't a paradox, it's the essence of true power. I understood this reality via years of hard training. When you rely only on strength, you become predictable, restricted. Your power, albeit enormous, becomes your jail. The fact that it can bend gives it strength, not rigidity alone. The bridge loses way in high winds without compromising its structural integrity. Being absolutely resilient while simultaneously demonstrating tremendous flexibility reflects the harmony we aspire to attain. This guideline is relevant to all parts of warfare. When you punch, your technique should be silky smooth with a hint of power that isn't tense. Your body needs to have the deftness of a whip, nimble and pliable in flight, yet able to deliver fatal force upon impact. However, take heed of this. Strength training one day and flexibility the next won't bring you oneness. They must be developed concurrently, each attribute enhancing the other. When you practice, your techniques should express the dragon's coiled strength and its flowing grace. The difficulty lies in knowing that genuine strength isn't about muscle tension. It's about the ability to generate and distribute power while remaining relaxed. Similarly, real flexibility isn't about how far you can stretch. It's about how efficiently you can adapt and respond to any situation. I spent years unlearning the habit of choosing between strength and flexibility. Understanding occurred when I saw they are not conflicting energies, but complementing parts of the same power. Like yin and yang, they generate wholeness through their union. This principle extends beyond physical technique. In combat, you must be able to move fast between solid and fluid states. Your defense should include the seeds of attack. Your attack, the essence of defense. This is how the dragon moves, each facet flowing into its opposite, producing a complete representation of martial strength. Remember, the goal isn't to become either powerful or flexible. It's to transcend the split altogether. When you fully embody this thought, your movements will incorporate both features simultaneously. You become like the dragon, capable of expressing ultimate power through faultless flexibility. Now we come to the second essential of the dragon's way, elemental mastery. In ancient understanding, the dragon commanded all elements: water, fire, air, and earth. But this isn't just folklore. It expresses a fundamental reality about complete martial arts skill. Most fighters excel in one domain. They specialize, becoming strong strikers who are terrified of the ground, or adept grapplers who battle from a distance. They are like a fish that can only swim or a bird that can only fly. However, the dragon is equally capable of traveling each domain. I spent years studying how fighting evolves at different ranges: close range, middle distance, long range. Each has its own beat, its own truth. Most martial artists discover their comfort zone and stay there. But true mastery demands something more: the capacity to flow seamlessly between these ranges, to be as effective in each domain. Think about water again. At various temperatures, it becomes steam, liquid, or ice, yet its core essence stays unchanged. This is how you must learn to adjust. Whether you're throwing a kick at long range, striking in close combat, or grappling on the ground, your essential notions should remain constant while your expression adapts to meet the scenario. But elemental mastery goes beyond only battle ranges. You must learn to adapt to any environment, any event. Fighting on firm ground is different from soft earth. Moving in open space is different from enclosed areas. The Dragon's Way teaches you how to take advantage of any circumstance and change any surroundings into your advantage. Many practitioners merely work out in their comfortable surroundings, such as the gym or dojo, which are always the same. Real conflict, however, does not choose its arena. You must learn to flow like water, adapting fast to whatever circumstance you find yourself in. The ground becomes your friend. Tight areas become your ally. Every facet becomes a tool in your arsenal. This theory taught me something basic about adaptation. It's not enough to know many techniques. You must master the core notions that govern movement and battle. When you understand these notions, you may develop acceptable approaches spontaneously, responding correctly to every scenario. The answer lies in comprehending that these elements, these diverse ranges and environments, are not separate entities to be mastered independently. They are interconnected parts of a single reality. Like the dragon traveling from sea to sky, your transition between them should be seamless, natural, without hesitation. In practice, this entails cultivating what I call environmental awareness, a persistent sensitivity to space, distance, terrain, and opportunity. You must learn to read these characteristics immediately, to sense how they influence battle, and to alter your tactics accordingly. Whether the space is huge or tiny, the ground hard or soft, you stay equally effective. Recall that the purpose is to comprehend the underlying ideas that underpin all parts of combat, not to master each ability independently. You become like the dragon when you truly comprehend this, at home in all realms, adept in all areas, and able to shift and flow without losing your fundamental power. After learning about these physical concepts, the balance of power and suppleness, as well as the management of the elements, you may be asking yourself, is this all there's to the dragon's way? But remember what I told you at the beginning. We're exploring beyond the obvious, beyond the just tangible. Consider this: when a dragon glides between water and sky, between earth and air, is it merely changing its physical form? No, each metamorphosis demands not merely physical adaptation, but a full shift in awareness, in comprehension, in consciousness itself. This is where most martial artists stop their journey. They comprehend the physical principles, but fail to grasp the deeper truth. Every physical activity begins in the mind. The body cannot express something the intellect hasn't initially conceived. Before it can be present in your movement, the unity of strength and flexibility that we talked about must be present in your mind. I can still clearly recall the very minute this knowledge became evident to me, when I suddenly discovered that my physical restraints were not in my muscles or bones, but rather in my thoughts, preconceptions, and mental habits. I was exercising hard and pushing my body to its limits. The mind determines how far the body can go. This leads us to an important realization. The physical concepts we've explained are essentially gates to something far more fundamental. When you correctly comprehend the concept of flowing between elements, you begin to see how this connects not only to combat ranges, but to every part of life. The ability to adapt, to flow, to sustain power despite change, these are mental qualities as much as muscular ones. What we're nearing now is the core of the dragon's way, the place where physical and mental become one. What follows is an exploration of the more subtle application of these same principles, the necessity for mental and physical flexibility and strength, and the fact that your awareness, like your physical presence, must become an expert in a range of circumstances. From here on out, the voyage grows progressively more challenging, but the rewards are worth it. Here, we transcend the sphere of technique and enter the kingdom of true mastery, where the mind and body harmonize, where the principles of the physical convert into truths of the mind, and where the secrets of the dragon's way are disclosed. Is this the next logical step for you? To discover how the dragon's method gets above the constraints of the mind and body, to investigate how these physical principles become mental abilities. Once we have acquired this level of comprehension, then we can continue on. Adaptive consciousness, our third principle, ushers us into the arena of mental mastery. One of the deepest mysteries of dragons is explained by this principle. They can be absolutely quiet, yet prepared for explosive action. These states are actually remarkably similar, despite common notion to the opposite. The bulk of martial artists can be found in one of two states: hypervigilant and prepared for fight, or placid and unprepared, never settling into a constant condition. They bounce between nervousness and ease. But the dragon teaches us something remarkable. The highest level of preparation is realized in utter stillness. Think of a peaceful lake that perfectly mirrors the moon. The surface is perfectly tranquil. However, under its depths, currents move with great power. This is the attitude of mind we seek, complete tranquility that contains boundless possibility for action. When your consciousness achieves this level, you become capable of fast response without tension, explosive action without preparation. I understood this reality by long hours of meditation and hardship. The mind, like the body, must learn to be comfortable under pressure. But this relaxation isn't passive. It's a state of heightened awareness, of perfect readiness. It's the difference between being calm and being relaxed and ready. This adaptive consciousness manifests in three levels. First, there is awareness, the ability to perceive everything without fixating on anything. Your mind becomes like a mirror, reflecting all without clinging on to any single vision. Second comes readiness, the capacity to respond immediately without preconception or hesitation. And third is emptiness, the state when your mind is free from both tension and thought, yet endowed with boundless opportunity. Mental readiness takes on a new meaning in this scenario. It's not about psyching oneself up or rehearsing scenarios. It's about building a mind that remains clear and responsive in every setting. Like water that adapts the shape of any container while maintains its essential character, your consciousness must learn to adapt without losing its center. This principle revolutionizes strategic thinking. Most strategists seek to foretell and control future events, but genuine strategic mastery comes from establishing a mind so flexible that it requires no prediction. You become capable of responding correctly to whatever arises without the burden of preconception or the limitation of planned replies. The key to building this adaptive consciousness lies in comprehending that serenity and action are not different states. Every moment of quiet has the ability for action, and every action should emerge from a place of serenity. This is how the dragon preserves its peaceful power. Not by moving between states, but by transcending the distinction altogether. In practice, this means developing what I call the ready mind, a condition of calm awareness that needs no preparation to act. Your consciousness becomes like the surface of that quiet lake, unmoving yet teeming with potential. When action is needed, it emerges naturally, without doubt or exertion, then returns to stillness without residue. This is the fundamental meaning of mental mastery in the dragon's way, not the power to switch between peace and action, but the awareness to understand that in their ultimate degree, they are the same thing. When you embody this thought, your mind becomes fully adaptive, capable of confronting any situation with both perfect peace and flawless readiness.